knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with? That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie. White in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro. I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show today. I have with me Deborah Pegues, and she was supposed to appear in studio with me, but her schedule would not allow it, so she's by phone. She's by phone. She's a best-selling author and international speaker. Her most popular book is 30 Days of Taming the Tongue. She also is the author of 30 Days of Taming Your Anger and 30 Days of Taming Your Emotions, as well as 30 Days of Taming Your Fear. So taming everything. And she's going to tell you how to get those books and other interesting information about her. Deborah wrote a very interesting article on thegrill.com and is how to counter the angry black woman stereotype. And I wanted to talk to her about that. Deborah, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Jesse. Just delighted to be with you.
Yeah, I'm sorry you couldn't be in the studio.
I know. I slept 2 hours last night, have 3 engagements I prepare to speak for.
I understand. Maybe next time.
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you about your article, how to counter the angry black woman stereotype. But first I want to know, what do you mean by stereotype? Is it true that most black women are angry or not?
No, I just, Jesse, I don't paint anybody with the broad brush. So I can't say what most women have had a negative experience, but most women in general have had a negative experience. And sometimes I'm thinking, are we countering or are we confirming the stereotype when we come across? And I only wrote it from the perspective of a black woman.
Yes.
And I've just gotten some negative feedback because they said, why didn't you talk about white women?
I know. What's up with black people whenever you, and not all.
That's
but
right.
Whenever you mention something negative, which is true about black Americans, they tend to want you to mention whites too. Why is that?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I think that because pain is so embedded in our psyche, even pain that some of us haven't experienced, but we heard about it, and I'm certainly not minimizing the impact that maybe racism has had on a lot of us, but my point is a lot of times we just can't stand to hear the negativity, and we got to learn how to just have a decent conversation where nobody's angry. We're just respecting each other's opinion. I think that's probably why I was never on the debate team, because I respect other people's opinions. I'm fine.
That's right. I'm the same way. I believe everybody has the right to have their own opinion. That's what they want to do. I may not agree with it, but I'm not going to be mad at you about it.
Right, and I'm not going to squash mine just so that you won't get mad.
There you go. You're right. Oh, so go ahead about the stereotype. So
with the stereotype, you see, I have to confess to you, sometimes I've even said that when I've encountered an angry black woman, I don't know her story, I don't know her history, but I'm thinking it just seems I meet too many of us who have that attitude. It's just non-helpful, and I'm thinking when people see this, they're going to say, yes, they're all like that, and I think I probably tend to carry the burden of the race too much. I'm trying to always fix us.
Yeah,
I had a psychologist ask me once, he said, now, do you think if you correct that, it's going to change everybody's opinion about the entire race? And I said, no, but I don't like it when I see people reinforce that with their behavior. And that's why I wrote the article. How do we counter that in our own personal lives?
Yeah, you're right that no doubt you have encountered an angry black woman, the unfriendly checker at the supermarket, the unhelpful postal worker, the surly retail clerk, the co-worker with the chip on her shoulder, who find racism under every rock. You know what? I see it everywhere too. At the bank, when I go to the bank now, I do intentionally or deliberately not go to a black female teller at the bank because in all of my experiences with them, they have been angry and they lack patience. And if you have more than one question, it's over for you.
Jesse, you know the story of the Hebrew boys that went into the fire, and when they came out, they said they didn't smell like smoke. I say a lot of our ladies have been through the fire, and they've come out, but they smell like smoke. There's something that emanates from them that says, I've been through the fire, and I'm going to let everybody know it. And the whole purpose of the article was become conscious of your behavior, and let's try to see if we can correct this in your own life, because it will cause you to flow better.
Yes.
You know, you'll get benefits that you wouldn't normally get, because people like to be with people that are pleasant and that they like.
Amen.
You know?
So am I wrong for not going to the black female teller?
You're not wrong, but I would dare you to try just every now and then to see if it has improved, because you may run into an exception, because they really aren't all like that. And this week I got someone on the phone at the state office, and I have to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. And there was a black lady, and she was so helpful. And I'm thinking this shouldn't be the exception, you know, and maybe it just depends on certain entities or professions, or sometimes it's just the government, because there's no incentive to be excellent sometimes. I'm not saying that everybody who works in government is not excellent, and somebody's going to probably want to skin me for saying that, but I'm noticing that sometimes when you're in environments where there are no consequences with bad behavior, you'll find people acting like that. I was at the market recently, and the lady was so nasty, and I went to I asked someone, I asked her, I said, may I talk to the manager? She says, I'm the manager. I'm like, okay.
Oh, oh my God.
We're done. If you're the manager and you're setting the tone for how this store is going to, you know, the atmosphere of this store, we are all in trouble. All right. So
that's amazing.
It is. My husband has certain markets he just wants you to go to. And I try to support all things black. I really do. I try really hard. I'll try to go to the market in the black neighborhood, or to the theater if there's one in the black neighborhood. I really do. So I'm not.
But that's very difficult though, because I remember I went to an all-black theater once in Baldwin Hills, California. Well, it's not quite Baldwin Hills, but it's Crenshaw, kind of the Crenshaw district there.
I'm familiar with it. I wrote the financial plan to start that.
Oh, did you?
I did.
And it's the Magic Johnson Theater, I believe.
Mm-hmm. But the name has changed now, but it was for a time.
Right. I went there to support that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was crowded with black people.
Okay.
They talked all through the movie. They amen and telling the folks what to do in the movie. You know. And then
now, Jesse, that's part of our culture.
It's ridiculous, though. And then I tried to tell them to be quiet. They got very mad.
Oh, yeah, you don't do that.
And then they became angry. And then they had security guards everywhere, so I felt like I was in Beirut somewhere. And it was just such a bad experience for me. I never did go back.
Well, and I think the reason you saw a lot of security is because they wanted people to feel safe going there, because at a previous majority black theater, they had some issues, and people said, I don't want to go there because, gang members patronize the place. So when we did the plan for this one, I worked with Magic and team, and, we thought security had to be pretty obvious so that people would feel safe. And,
right.
But it does create an environment that says expect some hostility.
Yes. 888-775-3773, 888-77-JESSE. Back in a moment. Normally, we have our women's forum tonight. Every Thursday night of the month is for ladies only, women forum at 7 p.m. I cannot do it tonight, so we're not having it tonight. I know we've had people calling into the office out there to find out if the meeting is on. We're going to have to cancel, ladies, the meeting tonight. We'll pick up on it next month. But come into Sunday morning service. I'll be here this Sunday for sure. If the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. And the reason I have to cancel it because I'm scheduled to appear on Piers Morgan's show on CNN tonight at 6 p.m. So tune into that. Piers Morgan tonight on CNN at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right? Don't forget that. That's tonight. We're talking about the stereotype of the angry black woman, how to counter the angry black woman stereotype. And we're taking your calls at 888-77-53773. Deborah Pegues is with me. And we're going to also tell you how to get her books, excellent books as well. Deborah, my heart goes out to black women because I know that black women need good black men. They need husbands and they need families like any other woman would want in other cultures. But it saddened me because the anger of most black women are not being dealt with in the proper way. And now I run a nonprofit organization where we are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. And a lot of black men are telling me that, young black men are telling me that they won't marry a black woman because of her anger. She's out of control. She doesn't listen. She doesn't encourage them. Whereas white women tend to encourage you, even though they try to control too in a different kind of a way. But lots of black men are not marrying these women, and that makes me sad.
Well, it makes me sad, and we need to take a lesson from that. I was fortunate enough to have a really good mentor. Been happily married 34 years to a fine black man.
Wow.
But when I first met him, I wasn't angry, but I was controlling. I didn't know how not to be. I thought it would be good to be controlling lest he control me. But I had a woman who was in the car with us one day, and we were lost, and I was saying, "You're going the wrong way." And she looked at me. She says, "Be quiet." She said, "You're lost together."
Wow.
She said, "You're lost together." Another one of my mentors said, never tell a man you should. Why don't you say, have you considered? No man wants to be, she said, no man wants a mother. They may act like they want a mother, but they don't want a mother. And so I'm watching, and I'm trying to mentor as many women as I can from afar and through my books, because we really need to be taught a different paradigm on how to handle our men. My husband was working for RTD when I met him. That's an honorable job. I knew he could do more. And I encouraged him, and now he's has a degree in accounting, and he's a golf-playing white-collar worker.
Wow. That is actually, and so were you raised by a father and a mother together?
I was raised by a father and a mother, but the experience was so negative until that's what made me decide I didn't want a man controlling me. My father was abusive verbally and physically, and you have to understand when women have seen this, a lot of times they'll just go the complete opposite. You can't paint all men with the same broad brush. All men don't want to control you. All men won't be abusive. But what I did find and learn that if you bring some power to the table, that's why I like for women to get an education and get as empowered as you can, when they know you don't just have to take anything. Because I asked my mother, why did you tolerate that abuse? And she said, because I couldn't take care of myself. Well, there's a certain amount of respect you get just from being independent, but you need to learn how to be vulnerable. And that's where I find a lot of my ladies don't know how to be vulnerable, but at the same time be independent in their thinking. You know, they don't have to tell a man, I don't need you. If you make six figures, it's obviously you don't need him financially. You don't need to say that. You don't even need to send out those vibes. You know what I mean?
I do. A lot of black women degrade black men, too, by calling them honey or baby. Come here, baby, or thank you, baby, or how you doing, honey? That's a put down to the average black man. Why do they do that? That's a put down
to anybody.
Yeah.
Some people don't know that those little terms of endearment don't belong in certain environments.
Right.
I've had people do that in the workplace. I had the once when I worked at Universal Studios, the treasurer's secretary said to me, she said, your assistant calls me baby, and she said, it just irks me. Well, I'll tell people in a minute, don't call me baby. I don't like for a man to call me baby. And
right.
honey. I said, those are terms of endearment, and in the workplace could be labeled sexual harassment. So I'm thinking, listen, we just need to be more educated about some things. I'm constantly looking up things that offend. I even have a book called Confronting Without Offending. I don't want to offend people unnecessarily. I'm not going around trying to make everybody like me, but we need to be culturally sensitive and even gender sensitive. So we don't need to call anybody honey, baby. Save that for your husband if he likes it. or your man if
telling
he
you.
likes it.
That's right. You know, you spoke of your father being abusive to your mother.
Yes.
What I've found is that a lot of black men, I wouldn't say all, but definitely close to most, they resent their black mothers. And so what happens is you become like what you hate, and you start to love what you hate. You know, so you have this conflict going on, right?
Well,
and so
yeah.
they resent their mothers as boys growing up. And so they become attracted to that spirit, not realizing they have an attraction to it. And they end up dating or living with or marrying black women who are just like mama. And so when they marry this woman, after a while, their attitudes start to come out, and it reminds them of their mother, but now it's their wives, and they don't want to leave the wife, and they don't know how to deal with it because their fathers didn't show how to deal with mothers who did that. And so they end up becoming abusive to the woman because it's the same spirit that, you know, they had to live with growing up.
Well, because it's familiar, and you understand that it's familiar,
right?
And you know, if that's what you're used to, there's a good chance you may be drawn to that, even though you might, as you say, hate it. You know, the Bible talks about that. Whoever sins you retain, they are retained. Yeah. Meaning, you know, if you see that and you never really disconnect from that emotionally, mentally, you just may be drawn to that. But then there are some who will go the complete opposite. So my husband is the complete opposite of my father. And I kept waiting for him to be so. And once when I wanted to shop my first couple of weeks of marriage, and I said, I want you to know I go shopping every Saturday and I don't plan to stop. You know, hostile for no reason. He said, okay. Well, what are you going to do with that? I didn't want to shop after that. He has to make me go shopping even now.
Wow.
He said, okay, so see, there's growth and education needed on both sides. That's why what you're doing is important. That's why what I'm doing is important. If we can convince black men how to love black women and black women how to love, honor, respect black men without enabling, because a lot of times men just have not learned how to be strong leaders. But my mentor told me, she said, whatever you take over, he won't do. She said, whatever you do, he won't do. If you want him to be strong in the finances, take your hands off of it and pray that God gives him wisdom to handle it.
There you go.
I thought that was great advice.
Yes.
Whatever you do, he won't do.
Do some black mothers teach their daughters to be that way? Because you write that black women have only seen strong black women. Their mothers had to do what they had to do. And are these women picking this up from their mothers?
Well, not necessarily. And I don't really want to say they've only seen, because some people have grown up in good, balanced families, just like, you know, like the Cosby model. You know, that's not a myth. You know, there have been some good, strong families, but a significant number of us have seen the matriarch who was controlling and demanding by necessity in some cases, and never really stopped and taught us how to be nurturing even to children. And that's why sometimes we'll squash the creativity in children. Get back over here, sit down.
Yeah.
You know, we don't let them be creative.
Yes.
Because we just haven't learned to do that. And I'm on a mission to make sure I do my part, but I'm also on a mission not to make sure I don't let them frustrate the heck out of me, because I got such mean mail about the article on the angry black woman. One woman said that article was so negative it made me want to throw up my breakfast. And I'm thinking, I went back and read it. Did somebody change my article? All I'm saying is, here's what's worked for me. I grew up in the South. I've been subject to more racism than the law can allow. That didn't hurt me. It helped me. It motivated me to be excellent.
Yes.
You understand? And that's my passion. That's my mission. That's the track I'm on.
When I come back in our final segment together, you write about strategies that work. And I want you to share some of those with the folks, and then tell them how to get your books and your materials, and get a chance to hear you speak. All right?
All right.
Okay. Back in a moment, folks. Deborah Pegues with me, very, very interesting lady. It's an honor to be speaking with her. She has several books she's written about how to live, really, how to deal with stuff, how to overcome. And we are talking about very interesting article Deborah wrote on the grill.com, and how to counter the angry black woman's stereotype. And we're going to tell you how to get to that. Angela, before you give out your information, one thing that I am doing and have been doing for the last 23 years or so is showing the guys or encouraging them to forgive their mothers for what they have done. And once they forgive their mothers, then God changes their hearts, and they overcome this anger. And so when they are married or dating or get married, they're able to deal with their wives in the proper way instead of becoming angry at her for the way she's acting out. And I had to do that with my mother. I had to forgive her. She didn't like my father because he wouldn't marry her. She married my stepfather before I was born, but she would not forgive my father, so she tried to keep me away from him. And I wanted my dad, so I became resentful toward her. And every woman that I got involved with was just like Mama. Wow. And it wasn't until God allowed me to see that that's what I was reacting to. Once I forgave my mother, I have no issue like that at all. I can deal with any type of woman at this point. You write about, because when we forgive, God forgive us, and then we are free. And a lot of people don't understand that. But you write, here are some strategies that have worked. You say to smile anyway. That's like asking a black woman to take her head off and throw it away.
Now, Jesse, that is so not true. What I'm telling the people is this. Listen, if you're angry, anger is an emotion of protest. We're still protesting the inequities of the past. Yeah. Let's just stop protesting and see what we can do to make a change. So I say smile anyway, because people don't know your pain. They don't know your history, and we shouldn't take it out on the world. So that's what I'm saying.
I love that.
Yeah, well, they don't know your history. So don't be the skunk at the picnic. You know, just the very presence of a skunk at a picnic, people say, run. We don't want to give out that kind of thing to people. We really don't.
I was counseling with a black woman earlier. I do family individual counseling, and she was like stressed to the max, you know, just on the edge. And I said, well, and she felt like she was about to have a panic attack. I said, well, what's the problem? And she didn't want to tell me, and then she finally told me. I said, you need to tell me just so you feel better. She told me, and she felt better, but she would not accept feeling better. She was like, yeah, I feel better, but. I said, it's no but. You feel better. Why not accept that? And it was interesting to see that she didn't want to allow herself to be happy.
Well, because it was her norm now. You know, it was her normal. It's like the man who sat at that pool for so many years, 38 years, and Jesus said, do you really want to be made whole? You know, you're just used to your plight. So, but you're right. We have to be able to do that. But in terms of my strategies that I really put forth in the article, this is one thing I've noticed. We have to learn how to submit to authority. I don't care if the person is older, younger, whatever. Submit to authority with a pleasant attitude. You know, good Lord, how do you expect to get ahead anywhere if you're always butting heads with your boss?
Amen.
And I say, if it's not illegal or immoral or consistently outside of my area of responsibility, the answer is okay. I tell everybody, learn that word, okay. Just say okay and do it. Again, if it's not illegal or immoral, just do it and do it with a great attitude. I have gotten more positions just because they say, you're a team player, you're easier to work with.
Yes.
Other people are more technically qualified. So we got to learn that. These are strategies that work.
There are many, several that you wrote here, and I'll let the people go to the site and read it. But the other one that I thought was interesting, and I was surprised by this one. You say be proactive in joining others for social outings.
Yes.
Are some women refusing to do that?
Well, of course, because we'll say, well, you know, I don't want to be with them. You know, they probably prejudiced. I don't assume that anybody's prejudiced. I went to work in a job once where everybody was looking at me like, what are you doing here? Because they had brought me in and put me at a high level because they needed a black in that position to get a government contract. I knew that. Listen, I don't care. I'm going to be good at this. And when people would gather for lunch, I saw no one was actually inviting me. One day I saw a group of them out there, and I said, hey, where we going? You guys mind if I join you?
Yes.
And after that, people started, they found out I was a real person, that I was fun. And when I left that company, I had 5 goodbye parties. 5.
If I had not seen your picture or looking at your picture now online, we do live streaming, I would not believe you're a black woman.
That's why why I don't put my picture on my books. I've sold 1.3 million books, and 90% of the people who buy my books don't know I'm black.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at you right now on the screen. You're a black woman. You don't sound black. You don't act like a black woman. And that is, you remind me of the good old days when black women had the personality or attitude that you have today.
Well, you know what? I think it's God-given, and I think God has graced me to have a positive attitude no matter what. I believe, because I'm a Christian, that all things work together for good. So no matter what happens to me, something good is going to come out of it.
That's
I'm a writer
true.
today, Jesse, because a teacher gave me a B in the English, and I should have gotten the A.
Wow. I love that.
No, really.
Yeah,
I'm thinking now, that didn't hurt me. I tell everybody, racism didn't hurt me. It motivated me.
There you go.
So I'm not bitter about anybody.
Tell the folks how to get your books, how to read your article, and hear you speak.
Well, if you go to confrontingissues.com, I have articles there. I have written 15 books, and I have my speaking schedule there. So that's confrontingissues.com.
Deborah, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I hope and I pray and I agree with you that your book, your speaking engagement, your writing will wake up, especially black women who want to understand how to overcome and have a good attitude. I hope and pray that this happens through you.
It's going to happen. And congratulations on your Piers Morgan appearance. I'm going to be certainly watching that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And next time, I hope we can get you in the studio.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. God bless.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Amazing, Andre. Isn't that something? He said yes, folks. You couldn't hear him, but he's bowing his head yes to that. And Andre wrote, she is impressive. I saw her video. I saw her on a video. Oh, Kelly wrote that. She is impressive. I saw her on video. I'm sorry she couldn't come into the studio. I wish she had, but we had a picture up there. Things happen. I want to play this soundbite of Trayvon Martin's girlfriend or friend girl, however way it goes. During an interview, she says that she believed that Trayvon took the first hit, implying that Trayvon hit George Zimmerman first. And I think all normal people realize that anyway. When I come back, I'll play that for you. Also, there are a mayoralty race going on in New York, and we have some sound bites from that. The blacks are supporting You'll see what I mean when I come back. This is so interesting to me. I want to know why. I'm acting as though I don't already know, because I do know. But I'll take your calls on it, on this and other issues when I come back.